Nashville's 96.3, Wipe It Out with the Safaris. And there's a story behind that record. It is 8:35. I'm Rick Archer here with a very special guest this Friday night. A total surprise to me, but a very welcome surprise. Mr. Tommy Boyce, how you doing?
Rick, it's a pleasure to be listening to your radio station one more time tonight. Rock and roll Friday night in Nashville, Tennessee.
Ooh, it's a pleasure to have you. Now, you're with Annette over at Nations Bank over in Hillsborough Village. We got to say hi to her before we can get into this.
Absolutely.
You said there's a story about Wipeout that we just played.
Well, this friend of mine, John Mariscalco, who wrote Rip It Up and Ready Teddy and Good Golly Miss Molly for Little Richard, he went into the studio in El Monte, California about 25 years ago, and this little group was cutting this little record called Wipeout, and he kind of liked it, and so he said, well, what are you going to do with this record? And they said, well, we'd like to sell it, but we don't have any distribution. So John said, I'll give you $300 for it. He gave the group $300, bought the master, tried to sell it to 5 record companies. No one would buy it. They thought it was a flop. And so he put it out on his own label, and some station up in Portland, Oregon played it like for 2 weeks, and it was #1 up there. Then he turned around and sold it for $35,000 to Dot Records, and it came out, and I know the rest of the story. 17 million records later, Dirty Dancing, the whole thing, Wipeout one more time, rock and roll.
Great rock and roll story there, Tommy. Tommy, we're getting ready to play Curtis Lee's Pretty Little Angel Eyes, which you wrote, and you were rooming with him back in the early 60s there in New York City. How was it when you guys decided you'd like to get started in it? How'd you get into the business? What was the first job you had?
The first job I had was washing dishes. You know the story.
Yeah.
All songwriters wash dishes first, But Curtis and I were roommates, and we were also hanging out with Phil Spector at that time. Everyone knows about Phil. And we wrote that song one night, and Curtis's manager didn't like it, but he and I liked it, and his girlfriend liked it. So she told the record company that she liked it, so we went in and cut it, Phil and I and Curtis, and we took about 25 minutes to cut Pretty Little Angel Eyes, because in those days we were cutting records in mono.
Yeah.
And I played the finger cymbals on Curtis's microphone, and the 4 guys that sang background sang on another microphone, and the band played on another microphone. And we cut Pretty Little Angel Eyes live in about 25 minutes in 1961, just to hope we could pay the rent that week,
Oh, man, that's a great story. Ready to hear the song?
That'll be a pleasure for Miss Annette, please.
Here we go. Pretty Little Angel Eyes. Thank you, Mr. Tommy Boyce.
Thank you, Mr. Rick Archer.
Pretty little angel eyes.